My name is Frederick Butler. I'm the Communications Director here at the Council for the National Interest, where we work for fair policies in the Middle East and fair discussions of those policies here in America. Today we are joined by Sir Rateb Rabie. He is the co-founder, president, and CEO of Holy Land Ecumenical Foundation and was born in Amman, Jordan to Palestinian parents, and in 1976 he came to the United States, became a citizen, and obtained a degree in business management. From 1981 to 1986, he was the director of operations for Saudi Support Services. In 1988, he moved to Washington, D.C., where he managed and owned several businesses. Currently, he is an international consultant for business development. Sir Rabie is a past national president, vice president, treasurer, and co-founder of the Institute of Health, Development, and Research in Palestine, as well as a board member of the American Task Force for Palestine. Mr. Rabie is also a Knight Commander of the Holy Sepulchre and Sir Knight of Columbus, and is a committed advocate of peace in the Holy Land. Mr. Rateb, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
My first question, can you tell us about your organization and how it came to grow in the past few years?
Yes, my organization the purpose of it is to keep the presence of the Christians in the Holy Land and in a way that support them as they are dwindling community in the Holy Land, to support them financially, morally, and support them in a way that they stay there, not to leave because of their number. And we do that in two ways. One, by having developments in the Palestinian territories, and do advocacy on their behalf around the world.
Do you have any representatives or offices outside of the United States?
Yeah, most of our offices in Bethlehem. That's where we have our programs. We run several programs in the Palestinian territories, from education to job creation and to construction, to repair houses and build new houses for Christians to stay in the Holy Land. And we have representatives around the world, mostly in the United States. In different states, we have committees, which we call them the Holy Land Christian Support Network, and we have in Mexico, France, and Jordan.
You say that your organization's key purpose is to defend and keep Christians in the Holy Land, particularly in the West Bank of Jerusalem. How do you go about doing that with the current political situation in the Middle East?
It is two parts. First, we're trying to help them by staying in the land of where the Christianity started, because we feel that the Arab Christians, because they are the first who followed Jesus Christ 2,000 years ago. I want to just emphasize that we've been there over 2,000 years since the first Christian believed in Jesus Christ. Since that time, we've been maintaining Christianity in the Holy Land. And for over 2,000 years, we've been doing that. This task, it is not our responsibility as Arab Christians only. It is the responsibility of all Christians in the world. In this regard, we say, okay, how we can keep Christians in the Holy Land while they are under occupation. We know the Palestinian Christians are part of the Palestinian. They are Palestinian. They are the same people as the Palestinian. They are Arab. They are having the same aspiration. They have the same history, the same language, everything the same except the religion. And we are treated as a Palestinian, as you hear all over the world, that they are under occupation. From here, we feel that Christians, they're supposed to stay there by finding jobs for them, by improving their well-being as people in that land, and by creating the jobs for them and helping them to stay there. To do that, we felt that we should have programs where can be connected with the West, to be understood by the West, that this conflict in the Holy Land, in Palestine, Israel, it's a political conflict, not a religious conflict. It's not between Judaism and Islam. It is between Arabs and Israelis over land. Otherwise, the Christian wouldn't be suffering if it is a religious conflict. We are suffering. Our number is going down. Our schools are deteriorating, and education is not conducted the way it should be. And we are looking for our freedom as anybody else around the world.
Now, as a business consultant, what could be some of the steps necessary in being able to provide jobs to these people, businesses to these people, so that they can improve their own humanitarian situation?
First, to start with how we can find jobs for people in that part of the world. First, you need to look at the construction, housing. As you know, the Arab families are large families, and you don't have enough housing. Even if you have housing, the houses are old and never been updated. And this is one of the jobs we work on, that to create jobs for them by going into the houses, fix them and keep them going, and hire the local people to create jobs for them. This is one thing. Second thing, we are asking to work on the religious tourism, because now in the Palestinian territories, as you know, especially in Bethlehem, it is where our Lord was born. It is no tourism there. That's why, because of the Israeli are prohibiting people to go there, and if they want to go there, they warn them that it is unsafe. Here we're trying to figure out, how we can get people coming to Bethlehem, for example. It's not only just to visit, because yes, some tourists, they come and just come for 1 hour, 2 hours, they don't spend any penny over there. We encourage people to go there and stay at least 3-4 nights, as they are staying in Jerusalem and Nazareth and the rest of the Holy Land. And this is part of the job creation that support the economy in that part of the world. It is the responsibilities of the churches in doing that, because you cannot just go there and just see the holy places and leave. The way we do it, we should say, okay, here are the Palestinian Christians. Why don't spend time with them? When you go and live how Jesus was living there, these are people who was there from the beginning. Then, in this way, when they come and they visit the holy places and they break the bread with the local Christians, the Palestinian Christians, that will make your life completely change when you come back. This is part of the economic situation where we're trying to support. Even if you want to do a lot of work there and you want to do the business development, the problem is the closures and the checkpoints and the freedom of movement. How we can do business, conduct business, and make life better, and you cannot move around the cities and towns of the Palestinian territories. This needs to be looked into, because our Palestinian in Bethlehem, for example, I travel with them through the checkpoints, 2 parts. One is with the Palestinian checkpoints, and one for the foreigners checkpoint, the Westerners who have visas, and the third one for the Israelis and the Jerusalemites IDs. With the Palestinian checkpoints, it is really desecrating, it is humiliating when you go through that, as you have to go in and out through fingerprint for the Palestinian. And as I am American, and when I show my passport, even they look at me down, because, why I'm here, why I'm with them. And this takes hours just to get out of Bethlehem. That's why for the checkpoint for the Palestinian who are living in Bethlehem. Second checkpoint is, now they're having one checkpoint to leave Bethlehem or get into Bethlehem for tourists, for Westerners, for Americans to get in and out. And this is a long line, and you'll be questions. Is this for security? I'm not sure, because when you leave Bethlehem going to Jerusalem, you stay in a long line with buses and cars and trying to get out. All what you have to do, the driver has to go to a booth where the soldiers are checking that checkpoint, and they say, okay, how many do you have? Who do you have? They look at the IDs, and then they let you in. But if this is for security, they don't really check the buses and the cars coming out from there. It's just pick and choose. The third one is where you have a checkpoint is only for the Israelis. No Westerners, no Palestinian can go through.
Hi, and welcome back to CNI Jerusalem Calling, your source for unfiltered U.S. Mideast Talk Radio. I'm your host, Communications Director Frederick Butler, and today I'm joined by Sir Rateb, Rabie, the co-founder and president and CEO of Holy Land Christian Ecumenical Foundation, and also an international business consultant. Mr. Rabie, before we went to break, we were talking about the checkpoint and the level of humiliation and profiling that goes on over there. What can be done? A lot of people talk about the international community playing a part, but as far as what I've seen, those efforts have failed. On the part of the Palestinians, what do you think can be done in order to seize that without succumbing to violence?
I don't know what could be done. It's been years. It's the same, and just changing the rules and changing, the way you get in and out. And now Palestinians have that understanding now, trying to carry on with their life. But the way it is, you are not making peace by doing that. You are making more of hatred between them. They have to ease on the crossing between the Palestinian territories and the Israelis. But with the checkpoints and the wall, as always we say, the Palestinians don't see the Jewish people as people. They see them as soldiers with machine guns. And the Israelis and the Jewish over there, they have the same problem. They see the Palestinians as suicide bomber or they are terrorists. But the only way to have a peace there is to open these checkpoints and break that wall. In this way, people, when they are connected with each other, you can see that they see the human face on each other. I don't see any other way except that to ease the checkpoints and have more moderate checkpoints where you can worry about the safety and security of Israel.
Well, we got a caller calling in. Let's go to Mary in Philadelphia. Mary?
I wanted to comment that I just went to Jerusalem and Bethlehem at the end of March. We did experience trouble with checkpoints, not for ourselves. One time we all had to get off the bus and walk through turnstiles and things. And there was a Palestinian woman with 2 little children who was just being made to stand there and wait for no apparent reason. Another thing I wanted to say was that all of our guides were Palestinians, and they were provided by a group called Guiding Star. They were wonderful, and they lived in Jerusalem and Bethlehem. I think if people are planning trips to the Holy Land, they should ask for guides from Guiding Star.
All right, thank you. The CNI is actually sending a pilgrimage through Israel and her neighbors. They're leaving on the 17th. They're going to be out there for about 2.5 weeks, so we'll have to look into that when we're out there. Thank you, Mary.
Yeah, I think you can arrange the guides ahead of time. Yeah.
All right, definitely. We'll look into that. Now, Mr. Rateb, are you finding that the American public is becoming a little bit more sympathetic to your defense of Christians remaining in the Holy Land, or do you believe it's not changing?
It's changing a lot since the inception of our organization. You have 2 ways of reaching the American public, through the secular world and through the churches. And I felt that going through the churches with the believers, then when they find the truth, the American come forward. The thing here is that it is peace and justice. The Bible teaching us that how we should deal with others. And there is a lot of fallacies about the Palestinians in the American public. And you have 3 types of Americans. One, they support Israel because of their ignorance. They just don't know what's going on over there, and these the people who need education and to let them understand the Palestinians are people too, and they are peace lovers as a lot of Jewish over there, they have that. Second type of Americans who supports Israel because of religious belief or the right wing, and they just believe the fulfillment of the prophecy is to have the Jewish state. The third ones are American politicians or the political part of it, which just support Israel for political reasons. Our way of looking at things is you shouldn't take sides as American public here. You should look at it as 2 people has to share the land and 3 faiths has to share the land. If you look at it this way, then we could have a peace there. But Americans come forward when they find the truth and they have no political attachment or no religious attachment to be with one party, not with the other party. And here where we are educating Americans about coming forward and see and find the truth. And we don't tell them to believe what we say. We ask them take a trip and go to the Holy Land and find out themselves.
We here at CNI, we encourage our supporters to get their own private knowledge of Middle East and the policies that are there and not rely so heavily on the media. We all remember that we were thrust into the Iraq War where 100,000 people died, and we were there for the wrong reasons, and nobody batted an eye, and it's really unfortunate. We have another caller online. Let's go to Jamil in Maryland. Jamil, are you there?
Yes. It's very interesting to sit and listen to him. I happen to be a Palestinian myself, and my views are a little different and totally disagree with his approach. What I'd like to ask him, the question is, what has the Christian church done for the Palestinians in the 62 years? They themselves encourage many students, many people that I know personally that went to Christian schools in Palestine on the Israeli side as well as on the West Bank to travel to the United States and get scholarships to move over here. Now, all of a sudden, the church is crying uncle because the number of Christians is diminishing. This is totally uncalled for. Furthermore, The church had an opportunity over 25, 30 years ago. With the influence of the Vatican, they could have nationalized the city of Jerusalem. But who stood in the way? Are all the Arab countries, and Israel was willing to listen. And now we are sitting here crying the blues.
Mr. Rabie, would you like to respond?
Yeah, that's for sure. This is some other Palestinians. They just take one side or a couple of stories from some people. They like to do that, and they say, okay, is encouraging that. The church never encouraged that, and the church is our organization. It is part of the church in order to keep the presence of the Christians. Everybody is leaving, not only Christians, and Muslims are leaving. It's just because our number is small can show. But with the Muslims that are leaving, if anybody get opportunities when you are unemployed and you are under occupation, you don't stay there. And this is when they get the opportunity, they just take off. The Vatican has no power, to internationalize Jerusalem. And if you do that, that means you couldn't solve the problem. The problem is not it is an international city or it is who has to be the power over the city. It is a conflict as a whole. You have to look at it as we are. The Palestinians agreed that this is two-state solution and Jerusalem to be divided and to be the capital for the Palestinians, and the Israelis want it as capital. A lot of Palestinian Christians, maybe they leave, yes, and some of them even went too far. They say they file asylum as they are, been oppressed by the Palestinian Authority, which that's not true, because we don't have organized oppression against the Christians in Palestine. We are worried about some Muslim extremism, in the Holy Land. We are worried about that, yes, but it's not as what this gentleman said, Jamil, about this. This is not true. And here where we need to look at it, how we can work together on keeping the people there. And we're talking about Christians because the Christians are very important for the peace in the Palestine-Israel conflict. We feel we are the buffer for peace. We prove that we are, by being there, this is a conflict, is a political conflict, is not a religious conflict. That's one. Second, being a Christian and where our roots with the Bible, we have the Bible in common with the Jewish people. And as a Palestinian Christian could be the bridge for peace to have that understanding as we are talking about it.
Welcome back to CNI Jerusalem Calling, your source for unfiltered U.S. Mideast Talk Radio. This program is a project of CNI Foundation, where we work for fair U.S. policies in the Middle East and fair discussion of those policies here in America. We are joined by Mr. Rateb Rabie, the co-founder, president, and CEO of Holy Land Christian Ecumenical Foundation. Mr. Rateb, before we left, we were speaking about the current situation in the Holy Land for Arabs, Christians, or Muslims. I believe you told me you just returned from the region.
Right.
Could you give us a brief overview of the current political and social situation there?
This time, my visit, I see a lot of continuation of what was happening before, building more settlements, more changing the city of Jerusalem from being an Arab city to a Jewish city completely. That continuation is going very fast, especially like in the old city of Jerusalem where they have the Christian quarters. I'll give you two examples. If you build a street outside the city, it's built very fast. They just finish it in no time. In Al-Khalil Gate, Jaffa Gate, they started fixing the street there, and they moved all the Arab taxis from there, and a lot of Arab used to congregate there. Now, it's been for a long time, just putting there because they don't want the Arabs to be coming to that part of the old city. That's one. Second thing, they're trying to change the name of the streets and changing too many names from Arab names to Jewish names. This is make things worse in the Arab Christian quarters and Arab situation there. Too many things happening since Netanyahu took over with the city and trying to make it a Jewish city rather than to share it with the Arabs and to share it with the Arab Christian and Muslims. Now, where we are talking about one aspect of what's going on there. Have things changed before? No, it is the same. It's just increasing things, and we just think, everything is perfect. No, it is not. It is no improvement, and it's getting worse and worse.
How do you think that incorporates with Netanyahu's and the Israeli government's current situation with the U.S. administration? Do you think it's just an on-the-ground continuation?
It is continuation, no respect to any of the American administration requests for that. Why, America cannot do this? Why cannot ask the Israelis to stop doing all what they are doing? Because you ask them to do something and they do something else, and they are not listening to anybody, and they just feel hopeless in what they are doing. And looking at life as it is going to nowhere, and it is from bad to worse. With the American administration, they feel that the only way is to say, okay, enough is enough, and let's get on the ground. And hopefully with the guarantees they gave the Palestinians, as we hear, maybe there is something gonna show that the Israeli could stick to what they're supposed to do.
I'm sure you heard of the Petraeus briefing at the Pentagon, where CENTCOM gave a report saying that Arabs in the region were losing faith in the United States administration's ability to stand up to Israel and be a truly honest broker of peace in the region. Is that sentiment shared with Arabs living inside of the Holy Land? Or how do they view the current administration? Is there any optimism at all?
It is their optimism there to a point, but they are losing that because since Obama took over, and they built a lot of hope of his message to the Arab world, of his policies and the way he's gonna act on it. Now they just feel they have second thought of that, and they're saying, is that gonna happen or not? After they agreed on this second indirect talk, or peace talk, they feel that here we are giving the American administration another chance to do something. If this is nothing happen now, they feel that there is no hope anymore if nothing would happen after this. Some of them, they are hoping that will bring some changes to the peace process.
You said that Arabs living in the Holy Land are currently moving out, especially Christians. How many are there currently in the West Bank, Jerusalem, and inside of Israel and Gaza? How steep is the decline?
Now we have only what's left in the West Bank and Gaza, about 50,000 Christians, and this is less than 1.37%. And Gaza itself has only 3,000 Christians in Gaza, even if some people think there are no Christians there, but no, there are 3,000 Christians left. In Israel itself, there is about 150,000 Christians, but 120,000 are Arab Christians, Palestinian Christians. That gives you the total is about less than 200,000. But in Chile, in Santiago, Chile, they have over 350,000 Palestinian Christians in that country. It's more than what we have actually in Palestine, Israel, and Jordan. And this is where we stand now. The number is going down. People are leaving, and you don't have families to increase the number as Muslim and Jews are increased number.
I'm told that as many Palestinians have immigrated to America as Santiago, Chile, which I find alarming. Why are Palestinians choosing to relocate to Santiago rather than the United States?
Because in South America have old immigration from Palestine, and that's why the number is more than in the United States. But the thing here is every Palestinian will get opportunity to leave, they leave anywhere. But after September 11, a lot of people, they don't want to come to the United States just because of what happened here, and they don't want to, with the profiling and the problems with the Arab American community, they don't want to come here, but they are willing to come if they can get that chance. But the immigration to the United States is less than other countries. Toward Europe or Canada, even Australia, you have more people are moving to these countries.
I know your organization is not subject to this criticism, but there's a lot of domestic criticism here in the United States claiming that Palestinian Americans don't have a united voice. And they complain about groups such as AIPAC and other right-wing Jewish groups controlling Congress, yet you don't see any Palestinian or Arab or Muslim opposition to that, explaining their side of the story. Why so, and could that change?
This is a loaded question. I can touch bases on this as our organization is trying to focus on the well-being of the Arab Christians, and at the same time we are working on Muslim-Christian understanding, which I come to that. But it is always the finances of organizations where AIPAC is a stronger organization, has more money, more power. The Arabs did a lot through the Arab organization like Arab American Institute, ADC, American Anti-Discrimination Committee, and now we have the American Task Force for Palestine, Palestine. As with the limited resources and with what we are doing, we change a lot. Even, when a letter been signed by 52 congressmen, or representative to Obama about Gaza, this is something, you see changes in what's happening. And even now, we are not going to see the change overnight. For the last 20 years, I have been active here in the United States. I see that a lot of changes. Even now, a lot of Jewish have better understanding of the situation. I'm a Jewish American, and they feel that they should have two-state solutions. They should have stop to all nonsense. They say, not everything Israel is doing is correct now. And this is where the change is going to come from within the Jewish community, and I can see that change.
Definitely, and you're seeing a lot of it, especially with groups such as J Street. Welcome back to CNI Jerusalem, calling your source for unfiltered U.S. Mideast Talk Radio. My name is Frederick Butler. I'm the Communications Director here at CNI. We're joined by Mr. Rateb, Rabie, who is the co-founder, president, and CEO of Holy Land Christian Ecumenical Foundation. We have two callers online. Let's go ahead and go to Jim in Maryland. Jim?
I heard a while ago, and I'd like you to confirm this, or at least tell me what's happening, that Orthodox Jews sometimes spit on Christians in the Holy Land, especially if he wears the outfit of a priest or a nun. Is this true?
It is true. It is one of the humiliation as Christian wearing the cross, from the Orthodox Jews.
That's disheartening. Let's go ahead and go to John in Arlington.
Yeah, I've got actually two related questions. Considering the centrality of Palestine to the Christian religion, does Mr. Rateb have any idea as to why the churches aren't more outspoken in their criticism of what's going on over there in order to protect the Christians that live in, the Palestinian Christians? I happen to have had contact with a Monsignor in Gaza, Monsignor Musalam, who I understand is, retired, or he's left Gaza at any rate. But for many years, he was not allowed to leave Gaza by the Israeli government, not even to attend the funerals of his own parents. And I'm wondering, why would an institution as powerful as the Catholic Church allow its people to be treated this way?
That's a question. Go to the Vatican to answer that. But let me tell you something. The Church is doing a lot what they could do. Just want to remind you that the Christian faith is not as politicized as the Judaism and Islam, and there is separation between politics and faith. But the Church is working hard on all these issues, even working on it with the Catholic Church and with the Vatican, where they have a lot of meetings, a lot of support, and this is what they are trying to reach in how to support the Christian and the Palestinian in general over there, and how to can bring peace and justice to the land. That's what we need, the support of the Christians in the United States, where they have more power than the church over there, because the church itself can help to a point, but the congregations of the church, congregation and parishioners could help the church in doing that, and we don't see that coming especially from the United States. Still, we don't believe that we should involve in bringing peace into that land. We have a lot of changes happening, but we appeal to all Christians to come and support, and like I said earlier, empower the Arab Christians, empower the local church in order to bring peace to there, because the church is looking for reconciliation, looking for peace, and looking for Jewish, Muslim, Christian to work together toward the peace of their people. I cannot answer, why some churches are not stronger in their voice, than what they are doing. That's become political activities, and we are the only way we do that. We are as people, if we can, Jewish, Muslim, and Christians, to come and say we want a peace and we want to be stronger in supporting that process over there.
If you could describe the support you're getting from the many Christians that have had to leave Bethlehem and Jerusalem and who are now living across the world, what kind of support are you getting from the international community?
As Christian, we get as Palestinian that support. The only thing, we get from Christians as you know, that most of the development organizations in Palestine are Christian organizations, and the support is not enough, because if you want to look at the Christian itself and the number of Christians there, it's not sufficient for what they are doing, but this is required more support on two levels, on financial support and on advocacy and on the political side where the Christians have a voice, where they can support. Still, we are not there, and we are not there in order to say, yes, we have the full support of the Christian church in the United States. But as Arab Christians, we started understanding the structure of the American church, for example. We understand who are with us and who are with peace and justice. Doesn't have to be with us as a Palestinian, but with us as peace in the Holy Land. We understand that we have a lot of friends in the United States, but they are not aware of our situation. And we were generalizing that because of the right Christians or Zionist Christians were always hurt us by what they are doing because the Arab world, they think, all they are doing to us because the Christian world is doing that to us. But now we understand we have friends and we have enemies. And we know now we want to work with everybody to work with us and not to take side, to take the Israeli side or the Palestinian side. We're asking them all to take the peace and justice side. And it's just at this time is the Palestinians are the ones who are oppressed and they need the justice.
Here domestically, you hear a lot about the current situation between the United States and Iran over their nuclear weapons. Do you think that the church could play a part in possibly the resolution of that conflict, or even bringing new information about that to light that the media may be missing about other countries in the region who possess nuclear weapons and how unfair that might be?
The only thing I can, as the church has, the only power has is to let all people to work their differences by dialogue and by working in reconciliation and solve this problem, whatever is the problem, And this is where I feel that we should all join our hands together and talk to our leaders and direct them to the right steps they should take for peace, justice, and reconciliation.
Proliferation is definitely very important. I think the world would be a whole lot better place if nuclear weapons didn't exist. Mr. Rateb, we got about 1 minute left. Do you want to give any quick information about how our listeners could contribute to your organization? Or your efforts?
They can just log on our website. It is easy. It is HCEF.org, Holy Land Christian Ecumenical Foundation, HCEF.org, and they can see what we are doing. We are asking them to light a candle for peace on our web if they don't want to donate, or just check us out and see how they can be of help. We have our 12th international conference coming up on interreligious, on peace and justice, and how we can support the Palestinian Christian and peace in the Middle East.
And I'd like to remind our callers that they can donate to CNI by visiting our webpage at www.cnionline.org and clicking the donate button under the About Us screen, and visiting our blog at Fair Policy, Fair Discussion. All you have to do is enter that into Google and you'll be directed right to it. We'd like to thank you all for joining us today. You are listening to the Washington Times Network on WSRadio.com. Into the Washington Times Network on WSRadio.com. Into the Washington Times Network on